Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this week's Organic Christianity. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I know this video is coming out and you're probably gearing up to eat a lot of food this coming Thursday. And while we're on that topic of food, I want to just bring out a small lesson that has always encouraged me and convicted me. If you would, turn in your Bibles to Daniel chapter 1. Now in Daniel chapter 1, we're getting a little bit of a history lesson of what's happening and what's going on and what time period we're in. You see, the southern kingdom of Judah has just been conquered by the Babylonian Empire. And King Nebuchadnezzar is starting to bring out all the elite people and one of these first deportations of the Jews out of Judah. And so now we see that there is a group of young men that go out. One of those being kind of our main character, Daniel. Now, Daniel says something in verse 8, or we learn something from Daniel in verse 8. Notice, but Daniel made up his mind that he would not defile himself with the king's choice food. Now that's an important verse, because if you were to go on later in Daniel chapter 1 verse 11, notice, but Daniel said to the overseer whom the commander of the officials had appointed over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, please test your servants for 10 days and let us be given some vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then let our appearance be observed in your presence and the appearance of the youths who are eating the king's choice food, and deal with your servants according to what you see. So as these young elite people, these young elite men are coming into Babylon, they are pretty much charged to eat this wonderful food, this really rich food, this king's choice food and wine. And Daniel and his 3 cohorts said, we're not going to eat that. We're going to have vegetables and we're going to have water. Now, what happens is wonderful. You see, a lot of times people will call this the Daniel fast, right? And they'll eat just vegetables and water. And the outcome of that is they feel healthier, right? Now, this is interesting because if you notice, Daniel does. He sets his mind to do something and he does it, right? Now notice what happens in verse 17. As for these 4 youths, God gave them knowledge and intelligence in every branch of literature and wisdom. Daniel even understood all kinds of visions and dreams. Then at the end of the days, which the king had specified for presenting them, the commander of the officials presented them before Nebuchadnezzar. Now Nebuchadnezzar noticed that Daniel and his friends were different, right? Because they had made up in their mind that they weren't going to do something. Because of that, God blessed them. I want to encourage us to dare to be different. That probably wasn't easy for Daniel to do. You think about, he had his 3 friends, but how many of those people that decided to eat that choice food were his friends as well? Maybe even family members. See, there's a lot of things that the world presents us. Rich things, choice things. But it's our duty, our conviction as Christians to dare to be different. I want to encourage you to be different from the world and make sure that you are doing everything you possibly can to keep yourself motivated. Thank you again so much for tuning into this week's Organic Christianity. Again, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.